Dear students, this video is on class 10, chapter 6, part 15. So today we'll discuss about the transportation in plants. So in the previous video we have discussed about the transportation in animals, how the blood carry different minerals or materials to the different body parts. So in this section we'll discuss the transportation in plants. So let's start. We have discussed earlier how plants take in simple compounds such as carbon dioxide and photosynthesize energy stored in their chlorophyll containing organs, namely leaves. So already we know that the leaves part of the plant can synthesize energy by the help of carbon dioxide, chlorophyll, sunlight and water. So the other kinds of raw materials needed for building plant bodies will also have to be taken up separately. So there are mainly four different materials which is required for photosynthesis. Then also along with water there are a lot of minerals which should be taken by the roots to the leaves for their preparing of energy. For plants, the soil is the nearest and richest source of raw materials like nitrogen, phosphorus, and other minerals. So, soil is the nearest source. That means for a plants, they can get their minerals like nitrogen, phosphorus, and any other minerals from the soil only. And this is the closest source of these raw materials. The absorption of these substances therefore occurs through the part in contact with the soil, namely roots. Therefore, this type of materials, that is nitrogen, phosphorus or any other minerals, is absorbed by the roots, and these roots is contact with the soil. If the distances between soil containing organs and chlorophyll containing organs are small, energy and raw materials can easily diffuse to all parts of the plant body. That means it is saying that if the plant or tree is small in size, if it is small in size, then the distance between the leaves and the roots will be minimum. In that case, the minerals and all the materials will be transported to all the body parts through diffusion process. But if these distances become large because of changes in the plant body design, diffusion processes will not be sufficient to provide raw materials in leaves and energy in roots. So if the plant size is very big, that is it is a tree, if it is a tree, then diffusion process will be not be sufficient to take up the minerals from the soil and also to send back the food material to the roots. So there may be some other system or process for transportation. A proper system of transportation is therefore essential in such situations. Energy needs differ between different body designs. So the amount of energy required in the plants will depend on different body design. Plants do not move, and plant bodies have a large proportion of dead cells in many tissues. As a result, plants have low energy needs and can use relatively slow transport system. So here one important question: why the plant's body needs low energy, and also the transport system in plants is slow. Why? Number 1 point, plants do not move. So since it does not move, so it does not require any energy for the movement as the animals do. Number 2 point, plant bodies have a large proportion of dead cells in many tissues. So there are many dead cells in the plants, and this dead cell do not require any energy for their survival. That is why for a plant it requires very less amount of energy, and also it requires a slow transport system. The distances over which transport system have to operate, however, can be very large in plants such as very tall trees. So, in the plant transport system, it may passes through a longer distance for the longer trees. Plant transport systems will move energy stores from leaves and raw materials from roots. So, how the materials will move? The raw materials will move from roots to the leaves, and the food material will move from leaves to the different parts of the plant body. The two pathways are constructed as independently organized conducting tubes. So there are two types of system and which are independent of each other, through which the materials are traveled or transport to different body parts. 1. The xylem moves water and minerals obtained from the soil. So remember, what is the function of xylem? Already you got in class 9. The function of xylem is to absorb or transport water and mineral from the soil to the leaves. The other phloem transports the products of photosynthesis from the leaves where they are synthesized to other parts of the plant. So second is phloem, and the function of phloem is to transport the food material from leaves to the different body parts. We have studied the structure of these tissues in detail in class 9. So already you have understood or you have studied the structure of xylem and phloem in class 9. Next, transport of water. So this is one of the raw materials for plants, and we know that this water is water obtained by plants from soil through roots. In xylem tissue, vessels and tracheids of the roots, stems and leaves interconnected to form a continuous system of water conducting channels reaching all parts of the plant. So, as you know that in xylem tissue there are some sub part of this xylem tissue. Number one is vessels, tracheids. Okay, so these vessels and tracheids of roots, stems and leaves. So all these roots, stems and leaves of the plants have vessels and tracheids, and vessels and tracheids are the part of xylem tissue, and they are interconnected to form a continuous system and make a channel. Okay, and by this channel they can reach the materials to the required position. At the roots, cells in contact with the soil actively take up ions. So the roots which are connected with the soil, they take up ions. Ions means the minerals in the form of ions. Okay, so they are taking that means the root which are contact with the soil are taking up ions. So this creates a difference in the concentration of these ions between the roots and the soil. So what happens when it takes up the ions continuously, then there will be a difference in the concentration of ions in the roots as well as in the soil. Water therefore moves into the roots from the soil to eliminate this difference. So in this way, that means by creating a difference in the concentration of ions, the water will moves into the plants from the soil to eliminate this difference. That means that difference in the concentration. This means that there is steady movement of water into root xylem, creating a column of water that is steadily pushed upwards. So in this way, the water moves continuously from the soil to the root uh, and from roots to the plant body parts through root xylem, and it makes a continuous column from soil to the leaves. However, this pressure by itself is unlikely to be enough to move water over the highest that we commonly see in plants. So this pressure is sufficient to transport the water material up to its top point, that is leaf parts. Plants use another strategy to move water in the xylem upward to the highest points of the plant body. So there are another strategy to get the water from soil to the leaves part, provided that the plant has an adequate supply of water. The water which is lost through the stomata is replaced by water from the xylem vessels in the leaves. So actually here one activity is there. So I am jumping without this activity. So you can understand by seeing this picture. You can see the diagram, figure 6.12, movement of water during transpiration in a tree. So during the transpiration, what is transpiration? Transpiration means the loss of water, excess of water through the leaves, through the stomata in the leaves in the form of water vapor. So due to the loss of water through stomata, through the leaves, there is a pull or suction pull from the soil to the leaves. So due to this, water may be pushed or pull upward. So in fact, evaporation of water molecules from the cells of the leaf creates a suction which pulls water from the xylem cells of the root. So due to this evaporation or transpiration, okay, there is a creation of suction pull and it will take up the water from the roots. The loss of water in the form of vapor from the aerial parts of the plant is known as transpiration. So this is the definition of transpiration. So what is the meaning of aerial parts? Aerial parts means the parts which are connected to the environment directly. So here the best example of aerial parts is the leaf. Thus, transpiration helps in the absorption and upward movement of water and minerals dissolved in it from roots to the leaves. So, what is the function of transpiration? Transpiration helps in the absorption of water and also movement of water along with the minerals. So, since the minerals are dissolved in water, so it will move to the plants and hence leaves can produce their food. It also helps in temperature regulations. Another function of transpiration is to control or maintain the temperature. The effect of root pressure in transport of water is more important at night. So this root pressure is important at night time. During the day when the stomata are open, the transpiration pull becomes the major driving force in the movement of water in the xylem. So during the daytime, the stomata remain open. So at that time, the transpirational pull become the major driving force. That means it is the main role for getting the energy. But this pressure, that is uh, root pressure, that is it is created due to the concentration of ions. That pressure is helpful in the night time. Why? Because at the night time there is the stomata remain closed. That is why there will be no function of this suction pull at the night time. Thanks.